Hi, I'm Dr. Rupa. I'm a pediatrician and advisor to Little Gourmet's baby food products. And I want to talk to you about the top 7 questions I often get asked in my clinic when it comes to starting solids in infants. So the first question I get asked is, when should I start solid foods? So as a pediatrician, we usually recommend starting solids when we start seeing good head control, which usually happens between 5 to 6 months of age. At your child's 4-month visit, we'll start discussing how to introduce solids for when you come back for your 6-month appointment. At this point, most nutrients are still going to come from breast milk or formula, but close to 5 to 5.5 months, you can really start thinking about starting these early foods as a great way to flavor train your baby or just introducing one meal at a time slowly before your 6-month appointment. The second question I get asked is, what foods should I start with? I always recommend starting with vegetables first in my patients and slowly introducing fruit as dessert or a snack, because we really want to get kids to readily accept the flavors of vegetables before we introduce sweet fruit, which tends to be readily acceptable to babies anyways. I usually recommend starting with things like avocados, sweet potatoes, cauliflower, beets, squash, zucchini, oatmeal, eggs, and nut butters, because they all have different colors, textures, and flavor profiles. And we also know that herbs and a little spice is okay as well. I've slowly moved away from recommending rice cereal as a starter food just because of the information about heavy metals, but I still love oatmeal and it's a great source of fiber as well. So the most important thing to remember is introduce vegetables first and really think about making sure the food is flavorful and delicious. The third question that I get asked is, what's better, purees or baby-led weaning? Do I have to pick one? So the truth is they're both great options, and I tend to encourage a mixture of both methods as they both have their strengths. But as a parent, you have to decide which option you are most comfortable with and is best for you and your family. So the puree method is introducing solids in the traditional way in a blended up form that you feed your baby with a spoon. Baby-led weaning is introducing solids in its original whole form by placing food pieces in certain shapes and sizes right in front of your baby and letting them explore the food on their own. And I really like a mix of both when you start. Whichever method you do choose, remember to choose vegetables first to start. And don't be afraid to add a little herbs and spice and give your baby space and time to explore the food that they're eating. This is really an opportunity for learning. So let your child hold the food, play with it, see the colors, feel the textures, and of course, bring it to their mouth. But we find that self-exploration helps develop a healthy relationship with food over time and encourages your baby to continue to try new things. The fourth question I get asked in clinic is, can I avoid a picky eater? I have so many parents come and tell me that their children are picky eaters. So we really try to proactively address with new parents, can I avoid having a picky eater? And the answer is absolutely. The more options you offer your baby, the better their taste and palate develops over time to eat a wide variety of vegetables, fruits, proteins, herbs, and spices. On average, you have to introduce a new food anywhere between 7 to 21 times for your child to acquire taste for it. So if your baby is spitting out broccoli or making faces, it doesn't mean he or she doesn't like the taste for it. It just means it's something new that's going to take time to develop a taste for. I also recommend offering 2 choices, but choices that you want your children to eat, which gives them a sense of control and autonomy over the process and makes it fun as well. The latest research shows that there are 3 ways to help picky eaters. One is using a dipping sauce like carrots with hummus to make vegetables a little bit more exciting. The other is cutting vegetables in fun shapes and sizes. For example, cutting a purple beet into a circle and then adding 2 green peas as the eyes. And the third most important one is modeling good behavior. It's really important as the parent to eat what your child eats, because when they see you eating and loving vegetables, they're more likely to as well. The 5th question I get asked is it okay to offer my baby a pouch to self-feed? So I do understand that this can be a great option when you're on the go. I really like to encourage, though, self-exploration for children. And we suggest pouring the contents of the pouch into a bowl and then spoon feeding your baby with those contents to really help their motor skills develop over time and improve their hand-eye coordination with using a spoon. We also find that sometimes babies have a harder time recognizing their satiety cues and savoring flavors when food comes from a pouch. Chewing food really helps the muscles of mastication, and we know also promotes speech development over time. The sixth question I often get asked is which foods help the immune system, helps with constipation, and aids in brain development. So immunity, as you know, is a very hot topic nowadays. And we know that 70% of the immune system is actually in the gut. So how you eat every day is the best way to prevent infection. And we also know that vegetables and fruits are filled with phytonutrients, which are specific properties in plants that boost the immune system and help prevent disease. We know that foods that cause inflammation tend to be foods like sugar or processed meats or even fried foods. So when we eat these types of foods, we tend to have more inflammation in our body and our immune system tends to decrease. So the more infants and babies eat from the rainbow, really eating two vegetables that are red colored, two vegetables that are green colored, two fruits that are orange colored, the better their immune health. So really even think about looking for products with turmeric and cinnamon and ginger, which are great herbs and spices to help boost the immune system as well. Constipation is another hot topic. And the best way to prevent constipation is increasing fiber and water in the diet. When I recommend to parents to start solid foods at 6 months, I always recommend to start with a little bit of water as well, anywhere from 1 to 2 ounces to start to really help promote digestion. When you think about fiber, think about green leafy vegetables or prebiotic rich foods, which are really packed with fiber. These can also include things like whole grains, beans, bananas, and I love the Little Gourmet products like corn and gazpacho or pumpkin and bean shawarma, just because they're so rich in fiber and low in sugar. When we think about brain development, we know that omega-3s are great for developing brain, as well as things like choline and folic acid. So think about increasing foods such as eggs, avocados, nut butters, almond butters, chia seeds, flax seeds, or even flavoring foods with things like soybean oil, avocado oil, or fish oil. The seventh question I get asked as a pediatrician is, what do I think about sugar? So the USDA recently had guidelines that came out that children under 2 should be avoiding added sugars completely. And when we introduce solids, I really recommend for parents to stick to fruit sugars since this is sugar in its most natural form. But I do encourage parents to add things like cinnamon or lime juice, which naturally flavors vegetables and fruit and makes it tasty. If you do buy store-bought items, I recommend purchasing products with no added sugars or a goal of getting a product that has no more than 5 grams of natural sugars per serving in it.